Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of The Mormon Atheist. You saw me taking a drink of my mason jar of coffee there. It's early in the morning. I got a little bit of time, so I figured I'd bust out a episode here and just keep this going till we're done, right? We're almost done. This will be, let's see, what episode are we on? Shit, I forgot. I don't remember what episode we're on. We'll figure it out. All right. Anyways, here we go. So we're on page 69. Okay. Welcome, apostates. We are talking about William Morgan's book, Illustrations of Masonry. This is a series. I do know this will be chapter 13. So this will be episode 15. Okay. So there you have it. Lucky 13. All right. Okay. So episode 15, chapter 13. Where we left off on the last video, apostates, like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, was the third or Master Mason's degree. Okay, remember we are reading this book and correlating it to Mormonism. All right, that's the point of all of these episodes in reading William Morgan's book. Okay, so we are on the third or Master Mason's degree, page 69. Here is the picture, okay, that's in the book. Now, if you look at that compass, okay, or I'm sorry, the square, and what is that? It's in the shape of a star, okay, the Star of David on top of the Holy Bible, okay. That has symbolism, right? That means stuff, okay. You know, it's got the pyramid there. Okay. You see the pyramid up there. So this stuff has meaning, okay? You know, look at that picture and, you know, pause it, zoom in, dissect that picture. Okay, the stuff has meaning, right? The pillars are in the background. Okay. I mean, notice this stuff, all right? Okay, so the third or Master Mason's degree, page 69. Let's continue, congregation. The traditional account of the death and several burials and resurrection of Hiram Abiff, the widow's son, as hereafter narrated. Okay. The widow's son, as hereafter narrated. Hiram Abiff is the widow's son, as hereafter narrated. Admitted as facts, this degree is certainly very interesting. The Bible informs us that there was a person of that name employed at the building of King Solomon's temple. Okay, he's talking about Hiram Abiff. But neither the Bible, the writings of Josephus, we talked about Josephus in the last episode. This is all Masonic stuff, right? That you know, there's an incredible amount of literature here that you have to read. And so I personally fell into this just by pure circumstance. Okay. And so I had already read this stuff, right? Before I even started getting into this, right? I had already read these things like a long, long time ago. And so when I got into this, I already kind of had I already kind of knew what they were talking about, right? And then when I got into the Mormon stuff, the Joseph Smith era, it just kicked off and was like, what the F am I looking at right here? It was this weird, crazy, like epiphany of like, holy shit, man. This stuff is all related. It's all correlates. And it's fascinating, right? But there's an incredible amount of reading that you have to do. And I cannot express to you enough the Testaments of Solomon. That's like required reading. You have to read the Testaments of Solomon, okay? And you will understand so much more of this, okay? So let's keep going. But neither the Bible, the writings of Josephus, nor any other writings, however ancient, of which I have any knowledge, furnish any information respecting his death. Okay? They're questioning the existence of this event ever taking place. And even today, historically speaking, there is zero evidence of any kind of a King Solomon, King David, the destruction of the temple. Like there is zero evidence other than the Bible, right? That's it. There's no writings, there's no nothing, right? And in the 1820s, you got to remember, in the 1820s, the Greek is coming out, the Rosetta Stone, right? Like all this stuff is coming out, right? They're making these discoveries. And so this stuff is hot, right? It's a hot topic of the day. So these people are like dissecting this stuff, right? They're entrenching themselves in Josephus, and they're trying to like, pull out any kind of, ancient secret knowledge that they can, right? They're discovering these new mummies in Egypt, and like all this stuff is happening, generally in the same time frame, right? So, you got to put the time in context here as well, as not only the words, the various codings, stuff like that. So there is an incredible amount of context that goes into this, right? And it's all done through the literature. That's what's such a cool thing about it's like this weird crumb trail of books, and words. It's fascinating. All right, let's keep going, congregation. So they're questioning Hiram Abiff, right? How come nobody has ever recorded the death of this guy, right? It certainly is very singular that a man so celebrated as Hiram Abiff was an arbiter between between Solomon, king of Israel, and Hiram, king of Tyre. Okay, apostate congregation, I want you to do some serious investigations on the king of Tyre, okay? That is a rabbit hole that you're going to find interesting that pertains to the light, okay? You'll see it if you look at it. And Hiram, king of Tyre. Okay? So you have to remember these books are a warning. They're warning us. So these are critical, right? He's not just he's not just willy-nilly freely telling you this stuff. Within all of this stuff, he's giving you warnings, right, as to why this is bad, okay? Remember, this is anti-Masonic, anti-speculative Freemasonry. Okay? They are against the religious institution of Masonry, the Church of Masonry. Okay? Okay, let's keep going. Page 70. Universally acknowledged as the third most distinguished man alive. Hiram Abiff is, acknowledged as the third most distinguished man alive, man then living, and in many respects, the greatest man in the world. Should pass off the stage of action, right? Should die, right? He should pass off the stage of action in the presence of King Solomon, 3,300 grand overseers and 150,000 workmen, with whom he had spent a number of years, and neither King Solomon, his bosom friend, nor any other among his numerous friends even recorded his death or anything about him? Huh. Interesting. Fascinating. That is a legit question, right? In 1827, that's a legit question. William Morgan is presenting, a question. How come nobody's ever recorded the death of this guy? He had, he's the third most distinguished man then living. In many respects, the greatest man in the world, should pass off the stage of action in the presence of King Solomon, 3,300 grand overseers, and 150,000 workmen, with whom he had spent a number of years, and neither King Solomon, his bosom friend, nor any other among his numerous friends even recorded his death or anything about him? I make these remarks now, hoping that it will induce some person, okay, once again, these books are written to the future people, us, me and you. We are William Morgan, okay? I make these remarks now, hoping that it may induce some person who has time and capacity to investigate the subject. That should send chills down your spine, congregation. In 1827, William Morgan is writing this. We are William Morgan. I make these remarks now, hoping that it may induce some person who has time and capacity to investigate the subject and promulgate the result of his investigation. That's heavy. Praise William Morgan. Praise William Morgan. That is so heavy. I shall let the subject rest where it is at present. It is not intended that it should form any part of this little volume. The principal object of this work is to lay before the world a true history of Freemasonry, without saying anything for or against it. a person who has received the two preceding degrees and wishes to be raised to the sublime degree of Master Mason is, quotation, parentheses, the lodge being opened as in the preceding degrees. Okay, that's his little footnote. A person, okay, a person who has received the two preceding degrees, pay attention to this, apostates, and wishes to be raised to the sublime degree of a Master Mason is conducted from the preparation room to the door. The manner of preparing him is particularly explained in the lecture. Okay, so later on we'll get to it, where he gives 3 distinct knocks. Then the senior warden rises and says, "Worshipful, why are we peaceably at work on the 3rd degree of Masonry, under the influence of humanity, brotherly love, and affection? The door of our lodge appears to be alarmed." The master to the senior deacon, "Brother senior, inquire the cause of the alarm." The senior deacon then steps to the door and answers the 3 knocks that have been given by 3 more. These knocks are much louder than those given on any occasion other than that of the admission of candidates in the several degrees. 1 knock is then given without, right? That's on the outside, so the candidate is on the outside of the door and he gives the knock. And that is what without means. He's on the outside, answered by one within. So now somebody on the inside of the door replies back. When the door is partly opened and the junior deacon asks, "Who comes there? Who comes there? Who comes there?" the senior deacon answers, "A worthy brother who has been regularly initiated as an entered apprentice, Mason, passed to the degree of a fellow craft, and now wishes for further light in Masonry." Okay, remember, this is a religious institution. Okay, and so they're in search of this light. Okay, remember the light thread, the video of the light thread. Okay, by being raised to the sublime degree of a Master Mason. Junior deacon to senior deacon. Is it of his own free will and accord he makes this request? Answer, it is. Junior deacon to senior deacon. Is he duly and truly prepared? Answer, he is. Junior deacon to senior deacon. Is he worthy and well qualified? Answer, he is. Junior deacon to senior deacon. Has he made suitable proficiency in the preceding degrees? Answer, he has. Junior deacon to senior deacon. By what further rites does he expect to obtain his benefit? Answer, by the benefit of a password. Junior deacon to senior deacon. Has he a password? Answer, he has not. But I have got it for him. Junior deacon to senior deacon. Will you give it to me? The senior deacon then whispers in the ear of the junior deacon, Tubal Cain. That's in quote parentheses, Tubal, Tubal, Cain, Cain. The senior deacon then whispers in the ear of the junior deacon, Tubal Cain. Junior deacon says, the pass is right. Since this is the case, you will wait till the worshipful master be made acquainted with his request and his answer returned. The junior deacon then repairs to the master, gives 3 knocks as at the door, after answering of which the same questions are asked and answers returned as at the door. When the master says, since he comes endured with all 3 necessary qualifications, let him enter this worshipful lodge in the name of the Lord, and take heed on what he enters. The junior deacon returns to the door and says, page 72, and says, let him enter his worshipful lodge in the name of the Lord, and take heed of what he enters. In entering, both points of the compass are pressed against his naked right and left breasts. When the junior deacon stops the candidate and says, brother, when you first entered this lodge, you were received on the point of the compass, pressing on your naked left breast, which was then explained to you. When you entered it the second time, you were received on the angle of the square, which was also explained to you. On entering now, you are received on the 2 extreme points of the compass, pressing on your right and left breast, which are thus explained. Okay, now remember, these things are, you're making the star on your body, right? Okay, I mean, think of it. They're pressed on your left and right breast. You know, they're making a star on your on your body, right? The 5 points of fellowship. As the most, okay, so pressing your right and left breast, which are thus explained. As the most vital parts of man are contained between the 2 breasts, so are the most valuable tenets of Masonry. Contained between the 2 extreme points of the compass, which are virtue, morality, and brotherly love. The senior deacon then conducts the candidate 3 times regularly round the lodge. Morgan footnote. I wish the reader to observe. Okay? Please, apostate congregation, understand these books are a warning. Okay? All of them are written to the future people, the future man, the future person. Okay? They're begging us in their literature, please take heed to this, because in your day, it's going to be a lot different and a lot bigger. So you better stop it now. This is in 1827. Solomon Southwick is writing in 1805. Okay? We are William Morgan. The legion of many are here, apostate congregation. Like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Remember, this channel will never be monetized. The only way you can help this channel is by subscribing, sharing, liking the videos, because it gets the algorithms out. We will never be monetized, so it severely suppresses this channel. So your comments, your feedback, your likes, your shares, hit the bell, your interactions with this channel is what pushes this channel. So this is your channel, congregation. Okay? So help promote your channel. William Morgan, Solomon Southwick, David Bernard, William Stone. The list goes on. These people are begging us to take notice. And nobody has for 200 years. Until the Mormon atheists brought it to you guys, right? And now it's up to you to take it and run, take the ball and run, take it and go, right? You are now the missionaries. You are now the missionaries, apostate congregation. Okay? The truth tellers. The truth tellers. Here, William Morgan has a side note, and he's talking to us. Okay? I wish the reader to observe that on this, as well as every other degree, that the junior warden is the first of the three principal officers that the candidate passes. Joseph Smith, traveling with the sun when he starts round the lodge. And that as he passes the junior warden, senior warden, and master, the first time going round, they each give 1 rap. The second time, 2 raps. Every time they go around the room, they give a rap. And third time, 3 raps each. The number of raps given on those occasions are the same as the number of the degree, except the first degree, on which 3 are given. Okay? 3 visions. I always thought improperly. End quote. End Morgan footnote. During the time the candidate is traveling round the room, the master reads the following passages of scripture. The conductor and candidate traveling and the master mason reading, so that the traveling and reading terminate at the same time. Okay, so as they go around the room, he's reading the passage. When they finish the 3 circles and the knocks, right? All this is happening at the same time. He's reading the passage, they're going around the room, and they're doing the knocks, right? And by the time they finish the 3rd pass, the reading stops. The master finishes. Okay, it's all timed, right? Remember, they're creating this stuff. There is no such thing as Freemasonry, okay? They are legitimately creating this as they speak, okay? Do you understand that? I mean, what are we, 15 episodes in now? And this message is being repeated and repeated and repeated. Okay, this is not my opinion here. This is legitimately what these books say. Okay, let's keep going. Remember, now thy Creator in the days of thy youth. while the evil days come not, nor the years draw high, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them, while the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and that the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders shall cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened, and the doors shall be shut in the streets. When the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. Also, when they shall be afraid of that which is high, and fears shall be in the way, and the almond tree shall flourish, and the grasshopper shall be a burden. What happened in Utah? Okay, to all the grasshoppers. All right. Grasshoppers shall be a burden, and desires shall fail. Because man goeth to his long home, and the mourners go about the streets. Or ever the silver cord be loosed, or the golden bowl be broken, or the pitcher be broken from the fountain, or the wheel at the cistern. Then shall the dust return to the earth as it was, and the spirit shall return unto God who gave it. The conductor and candidate halt at the junior warden in the south, where the same questions are asked and answers are returned as at the door. Now remember, you have to give in order. And if you don't do it in order with all of the words, all of the saying, I mean, think of how long-winded some of this stuff is, right? That we've gone over in previous episodes, right? Earlier pages in the book. And if you don't do it properly and in the right order, you're wrong and you're not acknowledged. Okay? So this is quite some complex stuff if you think about it, right? Already in 1827. And we're literally just talking about at this point in time, they have the handshakes, the temple ceremony, like they got their story down, but it's not perfected yet. Okay? Remember, this is the creating phases. This is the very beginning phases of this religious institution, the Church of Masonry. Okay? He is then conducted to the senior warden in the west, where the same questions are asked and answers returned as before. From whence he is conducted to the worshipful master in the east, who asks the same question and receives the same answers as before, and who likewise asks the candidate from whence he came and whither he is traveling. Answer: from the west and traveling to the east. Why do you leave the west and travel to the east? Answer: in search of more light. Okay, the master then says to the senior deacon, you will please conduct him back to the west from whence he came, and put him in the care of the senior warden, and request him to teach the candidate how to approach by the east. By advancing upon 3 upright, regular steps to the 3rd step, his foot forming a square, his body erect at the altar before the worshipful master, and place him in a proper position to take upon him the solemn oath or obligation of a master mason. Okay? So if we go back, apostates, remember the picture. Okay, so let's see, what page are we on so I don't lose my place? 73. In search of more light. Okay, right here is where we stopped. Okay, so remember the pictures, all right? So that's a little crude drawing of the altar right there, okay? That's your altar. You got your pillars, your columns, right? Okay, well, let's go back to the drawing of, remember the degrees, right? The drawing of the stage, right? Because remember, these people are pretenders. They're acting. This stuff doesn't really exist. They're acting. So they're on a stage. They're characters. They're characters in a play. Okay? This stuff doesn't exist. They're literally creating this, right? So you have junior warden and the altar, right? So, read these things, okay? Pause it, blow it up. This is the LDS temple right there, right? In the early days. In the early days, remember, right? And then you're hoodwinked. You go through the ceremonies, okay? You're divested of your clothing and put in temple garments, and then invested in your clothing. When the ceremonies are over, you are invested in your clothing. You're giving your clothing back, right? So all of this has significance, right? So you got to follow along. I've been telling you guys, write this stuff down, take it down as we go. Because when we get into Southwick and Bernard, this stuff gets heavily encoded. Okay, the wording changes because the way Southwick writes is you should already know this stuff. This is common knowledge. Everybody knows this, right? And that's how he writes. So it gets deep. It gets super deep, this stuff does. So follow along, subscribe, right? Follow. We're in William Morgan's book right now. Okay. We're on page 73. All right, let's go. The master then comes to the candidate and says, "Brother, you are now placed in a proper position." The lecture explains it. Okay, so later on, to take upon you the solemn oath or obligation of Master Mason, which I assure you, as before, is neither to affect your religion or politics. Remember in our earlier videos, that's part of the ruse. Okay, this is political. Okay, this is a religion. Okay, I assure you, as before, is neither to affect your religion or politics. This is a political religion. Let me repeat that. This is a political religion. Do you understand me, congregation? David Bernard is warning us. An entire political movement was created to stop this. You don't get a political movement if it doesn't affecting your politics. Do you understand me? I mean, think about this, congregation. If you are willing to take it, repeat your name and say after me. I, AB, remember AB is me and you, like insert your name, right? Whatever your name is, first and last name, I, AB, of my own free will and accord, in the presence, page 74, of Almighty God and his worshipful lodge of Master Masons, dedicated to God and held forth to the Holy Order of St. John. There we go. Remember, here we have it just says St. John. Remember, John the Evangelist and John the Baptist. Later on in literature, we get into the exact Bible quotes, okay, that differentiate the two, because the Bible quote is the context. Do you understand me? And God held forth to the Holy Order of St. John, who baptized Joseph Smith. Do hereby and hereon most solemnly and sincerely promise and swear, in addition to my former obligations. Okay, what happened to, political and religious, right? That I will not give the degree of a Master Mason to any of an inferior degree. Well, what happened to the religion and politics, right? Nor to any other being in the known world. Again, what happened to the religion and politics? Except it be to a true and lawful brother or brethren, Master Mason, within the duty of a just and lawfully constituted lodge of such. Your allegiance is to the lodge. Your obligations are to the lodge, to the church. That's what these books are about, is it's a warning. This stuff goes against civic duty, right? It goes against man, right? It's your allegiance is not to God and country. Okay, your allegiance is to the Grand Master and the lodge. Do you understand me? Do you understand William Morgan? This isn't me. I'm not saying anything. I'm just the messenger here. I'm the conduit. This is what the books are saying. Okay, this is not me saying anything. We are legit following what these books say. And that's it. There's no opinion. This is not opinion. Okay? That's what the anti-Masonic movement, that's partially what it's about, is these people's allegiance is not to God and country. Right? We're in the 1800s, the early 1800s. The Declaration of Independence was just made, right? So there's this sense of United States pride that is, the colonies are now like the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, right? All this stuff. We're fresh. We're fresh out of this, right? And so there's this country pride, right? This new America. We're building this new America, right? And this religious institution is trying to take over. And the anti-Masonic movement is an attempt to stop that. And it failed, okay? The religious institution won. David Bernard tells us this, and many others. Okay? So we got to take this into context and consideration, right, of what is taking place. What is prompting these people to write these books in such a critical, harsh fashion? Right? What's going on here? What's happening in the anti-Masonic movement? What's it about? What are they talking about? Okay. Come on, you guys on this channel, you're all nerds. All of you are nerds on this channel. Okay? The allegiance is to the lodge. As a Mormon, in the early days of Mormonism, your allegiance was to the church, the blood oaths, right? Okay? And not unto him, nor unto them who I shall hear, so to be, here's the here, but unto him and them only whom I shall find so to be after strict trial and due examination, or lawful information received. Furthermore, I do promise and swear that I will not give the master's word, which I shall hereafter receive, neither in the lodge nor out of it. Okay? I will not give the master's word, right? Remember what the master's word was. I don't remember what the master's word was. Shit, I don't remember what the master's word was. You'll have to rewind. The password. Oh, here we go. Tubal Cain. Tubalcain. Tubal Cain. Okay. I will not give the master's word, which I shall hereafter receive, neither in the lodge nor out of it, except it be on the 5 points of fellowship. Okay, the Star of David, the pentagram, the seal of Solomon. Okay, the 5 points of fellowship, and then not above my breath. So you whisper it. Furthermore, do I promise and swear that I will not give the grand hailing sign of distress, except I am in real distress. Okay, what happened to Joseph Smith? He gave the sign and nobody answered. Right? Or for the benefit of the craft when at work. It's better than one man perish than the whole organization go down. And should I ever see that sign given or the word accompanying it, and the person who gave it appearing to be in distress, I will fly to the relief at the risk of my life. Okay, so it's in their code. It's in their, you could call it doctrine. It's in their doctrine, right? That if somebody gives the sign of distress, right, I will fly to his relief at the risk of my own life. So why didn't they respond to Joseph Smith? Do you understand? Should there be a greater probability of saving his life than losing my own? Okay? Joseph Smith gave the sign and nobody responded. And it's telling you right here that if there be a greater probability of saving his life than losing my own. Okay? It's more important that I die to save your life because you gave the sign. You're a brother Mason. Why didn't anybody respond to Joseph Smith? Furthermore, do I promise and swear that I will not wrong this lodge, nor a brother of this degree to the vault of 1 cent. I'm sorry, to the value of 1 cent. Knowingly, myself, or suffer it to be done by others, if in my power to prevent it. Furthermore, I do promise and swear that I will not be at the initiating I will not be at the initiating, passing, and raising a candidate at one communication without a regular disposition from the Grand Lodge for the same. Right? You don't do anything without the approval of the Grand Lodge. You understand? Furthermore, I do promise and swear that I will not be at the initiating, passing, or raising a candidate in a clandestine lodge. I knowing it to be such. Okay? Furthermore, I do promise and swear that I will not be at the initiating, passing, or raising a candidate in a clandestine lodge. I knowing it to be such. Furthermore, do I promise and swear that I will not be at the initiation of an old man in dotage, Dotage, a young man in nonage, Nonage, an atheist, irreligious, libertine, idiot, madman, hermaphrodite, or woman. Okay, do you understand? Hermaphrodite or woman. Okay, gay people are not allowed in this institution. All the way from the beginning, even until today. Okay, it's legitimately in the doctrine. It is never going to change. Okay, they can create words to make you feel better and to make you feel accepted so you can pay your tithing and they can suck money off of you, right? But bottom line, hands down, you are not allowed in this institution. You are not wanted in this institution. You are not accepted. It is in the doctrine. Okay? Let me read it again. Furthermore, do I promise and swear that I will not be at the initiating of an old man in dotage, a young man in nonage, an atheist, irreligious libertine, idiot, madman, hermaphrodite, or woman. Furthermore, do I promise and swear that I will not speak evil of a brother master mason, neither behind his back nor before his face, but will apprise him of all approaching danger if in my power. Your allegiance is to the institution. Furthermore, do I promise and swear that I will not violate the chastity of a master mason's wife, mother, sister, or daughter. Okay? Joseph Smith did not practice polygamy. It goes against the rules. Okay? It legitimately goes against the rules. Okay? This is what changed. This is what 132 changes. This right here. Okay, furthermore, do I promise and swear that I will not violate the chastity of a master mason's wife, mother, sister, or daughter? Okay. It legitimately goes against the rules. Okay. I knowing them to be such, nor suffer it to be done by others. if in my power to prevent it. Furthermore, do I promise and swear that I will support the Constitution of the Grand Lodge of the state of, a blank is there for you to insert your state, under which the lodge is held, and conform to all the bylaws, rules, and regulations of this or any other lodge of which I may at any time hereafter become a member. Okay, think of the church, think of the LDS churches as lodges. Okay, and then the temples are temples of Solomon. All right, this is legitimately what's going on here. They're building these lodges, which me and you call church. We go to the meeting house, the ward house, whatever it is you want to call it, right? Sacrament, whatever you want to call it, right? Church. We go to church. It's the lodge. And now they have perfected it to where you can go multiple times a day, right? To maximize the potential of the prophet. You understand me? So think of the churches, LDS churches, as the lodges, and the LDS temples are the Temple of Solomon, and they are recreating the New Jerusalem in America, which was the entire plan the whole time, all the way from the 1700s. Do you understand? I mean, this is legitimately in the Mormon doctrine. This is legitimately in the Mormon doctrine. Okay? What's our time, congregation? All right, we're going to stop there. All right. So we are on page 75. Okay? I hope you guys are getting enjoyment out of this. I hope you're learning something. I hope this has made you think. Okay, we didn't even talk about the magic in this episode, right? But there's a F ton of magic that is involved in this entire thing. The 5 points, the craft. All right, the craft are the magicians. The craft is the magic, right? So the craftsmen are the magicians. Okay, we've established this in previous episodes and earlier in the book, and it's repeated constantly. So it's not like we're reading anything into this. It's not like we're making stuff up. This is legitimately what the book says. Okay? So thank you, Apostate Congregation. Like and subscribe to the channel. And I really cannot get this out of my mind. I want to read this again. This is from William Morgan to us. Okay? William Morgan is addressing me and you right here on page 72. I wish the reader to observe that on this, as well as every other degree, that the junior warden is the first of the three principal officers that the candidate passes, traveling with the sun when he starts round the lodge. And that as he passes the junior warden, senior warden, and master, the first time going round, they each give 1 rap, the second time 2 raps, and the third 3 raps. The number of raps is given on those occasions Wait, that's the wrong one. Shit. I read the wrong one, damn it. Where'd it go? I don't know. I'll find it and I'll read it on the next episode. I lost it. All right. I lost the emotion. All right. The vibe is over. Okay. Anyways, apostate congregation. We'll get to that on the next episode because that's profound. All right. Rewind the video. You can hear it again, whatever. And that's some intense stuff right there, what Morgan was saying. All right. Beautiful stuff. Thank you, William Morgan. We praise William Morgan or whoever wrote this book. I don't believe William Morgan is even a real person, nor do I believe Joseph Smith is a real person. So David C. Miller is who published this book, but it's a mystery. It is a mystery. Okay, congregation, like and subscribe to the channel. This channel will never be monetized. The only way you can help this channel is to share the videos, watch them all the way through. Tell your friends, read the books. There's no better way. There's no better advertisement than word of mouth. Tell your friends, share the videos, hit the bell. Please comment. Tell me what you think. You know. All right. Anyways, apostate congregation, have a good rest of your day. I will come back. Oh, I didn't even say the date today. Today is December 26, 2025. I will come back later on this afternoon and do another episode because I want to get through this book. I'm determined. I'm focused. I'm feeling it. We're rolling, baby. We're rolling. So let's go. Jump on the time machine. Hit the bell. Hit the subscribe button. And let's rock this out. And apostate congregation, in the words of the late, great Solomon Southwick, what does he say? You all know. You all know. The ashes of Morgan will rise again. And here he is. Here he is, apostate congregation. Me and you are William Morgan. We are William Morgan. We are bridging that gap from anti-Masonry to anti-Mormonism, which is exactly what the role and character of William Morgan represents. What it represents. What it represents. What it represents. Allegory. Okay? Thank you, congregation. And we will see you on the other side. We are William Morgan.